Hey everybody, I've just made a video covering this exact thing, but I'm just going to do this one really short because I think it is important, and I think that this question does need to be asked, and so I'm just going to focus on this one point now. So the point that I'm making here is, so let's go to the Chinese document, which is referring to SARS coronavirus, and it's now novel because after studying it, they found this novel clathrin endocytic pathway. I mean, I don't understand all this scientific terminology, but I do understand that basically the virus converts enzyme 2. That's the functional receptor of SARS-CoV, which is SARS coronavirus. And SARS stands for severe acute respiratory syndrome. So at first it's known as SARS when it's first becomes apparent in 2002, severe acute respiratory syndrome. It spread around the world, had a death rate, a fatality rate of 10% among those infected. The greater portion really elderly people. So, excuse me, SARS-CoV-2. So then after it's been studied and it's understood what the mechanism is of how it causes such thing as lung damage and what have you, then it's referred to as SARS-CoV-ACE-2. Okay, because it's got this this Pathogenesis converting enzyme 2. Okay, so I don't understand the terminology, but I understand that there's enzyme 2 in there, and that this is the function of the virus. This is how it impacts, gets into the cells and causes damage through converting enzyme 2. Through, I suppose this has got something to do with antagonising, maybe, I don't know. So now, and also it's the same thing is repeated here, the same thing, this enzyme 2, which is down here. Here we go, converting enzyme 2. So now I'm asking the question, after, because this was from, I think these studies go back as far as 2006 when they start identifying this enzyme 2, this conversion of enzyme 2, or converting enzyme 2, okay? So by 2008, because this one was published 2000, and it was published 2010, but it was written 2007, and this one was published in 2008. So by 2008, SARS was recognised as SARS-CoV-2, or sorry, SARS-CoV-ACE-2, okay? And that's directly related to how it functions, because then they understood more about it. So now I'm thinking about these vaping deaths that took place in America 2019, and obviously there were studies performed to find out exactly what it was afflicting people, because they were blaming it on vaping, but obviously people were studying it because, you know, they were saying quite young people were turning up in hospital with pneumonia, and they were blaming it on vaping, but surely, you know, there were investigations done. So now I'm thinking, because you see, I was questioning about this word COVID. Where does it come from? Because COVID-19 refers directly to SARS-CoV-2, SARS coronavirus 2. That is, the 1 and 2 are exactly the same thing. And, you know, I shared this in my other video as well. Here it is listed here. In the UK list of reportable diseases, COVID-19 brackets SARS-CoV-2. They're one and the same thing. So I'm thinking, well, why not just stick with SARS-CoV-2 then? Why call it COVID-19? What's this 19? What's that got to do with it? What does COVID mean? Well, we know that the CoV refers to coronavirus. Okay, so what's the id, the ID, and the 19? So is the id identified 2019? Identified, so they just put the year 19, 2019. Coronavirus identified 2019 as SARS-CoV-2. That they've abbreviated it from the ACE, so they've removed the ACE out of it and just left the 2 in. So it's, so instead of you know, this angiotensin converting enzyme 2, they've just abbreviated it to SARS-CoV-2. And it was identified in 2019 as the new virus, you know, the virus that uses SARS, that uses this novel form of, you know, that it is a novel virus, okay? That it's a novel, it's got this novel mechanism in it. So, therefore, if this is the case, right, and I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it suspiciously looks like it is, if this is the case, then that would mean that what we're all being locked up in our homes for right now is for something that has been around for over 20 years. Sorry, for almost 20 years. Okay? Otherwise, what does the 2 mean in SARS-CoV-2? What is the 2 referring to? If it's not referring to this, what is it referring to? Because I think it's very important that we understand the word spell, the spell that is being cast upon us with this word coronavirus and COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2. Okay, because what we're actually talking about, when you're talking about COVID-19, you're talking about SARS-CoV-2. When you're talking about coronavirus, you're talking about a variety of flu and cold viruses. Okay? Understand that. The word spells can have no power over you once you understand what they mean. Okay? They cannot harm you. If you understand what they mean, you can take steps. If they're offensive words, you can take steps to defend yourself. So understand the language that is being used, that is telling you, you must sit in your home, you must lose your job, your business must collapse. No, you're not allowed to stand close to your neighbour, and you're not allowed to gather in groups of more than 2 people. Okay? Words are being used to justify all of that. So it is important we understand. Now, if it is the case, then this is one big giant con, isn't it? If SARS-CoV-2 is actually SARS-CoV-ACE-2 as identified, as it was renamed. So after In 2002, when it first came out, it was called severe acute respiratory syndrome because it had not been studied. People did not know how it functioned. But by 2008, when it was known how it was functioned, then it was SARS-CoV-ACE-2 because of this converting enzyme, antagonizing converting enzyme. Okay, if that's what it is, angiotensin. Resulted in the translocation of angiotensin converting enzyme 2. Right, so that's a medical term. I don't know what it exactly means. I know what an enzyme is. So this is enzyme 2. So therefore, is this exact thing, SARS-ACE-2, what had infected the American people that were hospitalised in August 2019 and were diagnosed as having vaping illness? But in fact, unbeknownst to the population, while the media were out there telling everybody it was vaping, okay, that medical scientists were studying it and realised that no, it's actually SARS-CoV-2, as it was known once it had been studied, SARS-CoV-2. So then they abbreviate it even more to coronavirus identified 2019, because that would have been identified in those American patients in hospital with alleged vaping illness in 2019, and then in 2020 suddenly it's announced as a pandemic, because it couldn't have been identified in 2019, could it? Because it was only discovered in 2020. Otherwise, what does the ID and 19 mean on this COVID-19? What does it mean? Why do we have COVID-19 when actually what we're dealing with is SARS coronavirus 2? I'm saying, is it actually ACE2? Is it the original SARS, basically, that's been around for 18 years, that was studied and by 2008 was referred to as SARS-CoV-ACE-2, and then re-identified in American patients in 2019, coronavirus ID-19, ID identification, coronavirus identified 2019. I mean, this information is actually a bombshell, isn't it? Compared, you know, when we're looking at, we're all going through this new pandemic, this novel virus, a novel coronavirus. But that's what's novel about it, you see. What's novel about it is this ACE-2. That's what makes it novel, you see, through a novel clathrin. So then we are all fully aware that we're being conned, if this is the case. Otherwise, I would like a medic to explain it. I would like the proper explanations, because I think we the people deserve the proper explanations. Otherwise, what does COVID-19 mean? We know what the COVID bit means. What does the ID and the 19 mean? Please explain it to us, because I understand where the 2's coming from now. You see, I didn't understand SARS coronavirus 2, because 2, what's the 2 actually referring to? Now I think I understand what the 2's referring to. Now I think I understand that we're dealing with a virus that's been around for 18 years at least. Or if we haven't, explain it to us, please. Explain to us the exact reason why we are being locked in our homes. Why is it called then, on top of SARS-CoV-2, CoV-ACE-2 or SARS-CoV-2 also being called COVID-19. And if it is COVID-19, if it was identified in 2019 in America, why is it that we're only hearing about it in 2020, just in the middle, just at the point of a global banking collapse? And we're all locked in our homes. So they are very important questions. And thank you for listening, people. As I say, I've made this one a much shorter one because I think it's more concise and it explains, you know, just the situation about how important it is. You know, language is important, words are important, and, you know, the powers that be do use them to cast spells over us.